watching the nation's best college newscast. 11 News at Noon starts now.
Federal freeze. The government is temporarily out of service. What this could mean for you.
Costly construction. If you live in Provo, your utility bill could go up to fund road repairs.
And autumn amusement. What people are doing to welcome the fall season in Utah.
I'm Matt Rascone.
And I'm Christy Jacinto. Welcome to 11 News at Noon. The U.S. government has officially shut down.
The midnight deadline came and went with no new funding agreement from Congress. House Republicans are sending budget bills to the democratically controlled Senate. But since those bills effectively defund Obamacare, the Senate won't pass them. This is the first government shutdown in 17 years. Reporter Shannon Travis explains what that means.
After a flurry of activity and back-and-forth votes, the House and Senate reached a stalemate, and the clock struck midnight.
All time for debate has expired.
What felt inevitable all day is now a reality. For the first time since 1995, the federal government is shut down.
Really a very sad point in the history of this Congress.
The Republican-controlled House passed budgets that included defunding or delaying Obamacare, which is set to begin Tuesday. The Democratic-controlled Senate struck down each proposal, refusing to tie the budget to the new health care law.
The idea of putting the American people's hard-earned progress at risk is the height of irresponsibility, and it doesn't have to happen.
I didn't come here to shut down the government. I came here to fight for a smaller, less costly, and more accountable federal government.
So now what? You might have a tougher time renewing your passport. That trip you planned to a national park or museum may not happen. And if you're a veteran, some services may be disrupted. What won't be impacted? Social Security checks will still arrive on time. So will your mail. The Postal Service will remain open, and most law enforcement agencies like the FBI and DEA will keep operating. So it's no surprise Americans appear to be fed up with Congress, with an approval rating of 10%, a new all-time low. The question now is, which side blinks first? In Washington, I'm Shannon Travis.
As of this afternoon, there's no light at the end of the shutdown tunnel. Senate and House officials are still debating over a short-term spending bill. Well, for Utahns, government shutdown means the closure of federally run services. Utah state parks like Moab, Zions, and Canyonlands are closed, and you can forget about camping or visiting national monuments. Funding for some Head Start programs that support women and child nutrition are on hold, but funding for food stamps and school lunches will continue.
Provo City is trying to pay for road construction with a new fee, doing away with traditional bonds. But as 11 News reporter John Hammond tells us, some people don't think this is the best option.
Orange cones dot many roads around Provo, a sign of constant road improvement. The City Council says traditional 10-year bonds pay for the improvements but run out after the first 3 years. The city is proposing a new utility transportation fee, meaning people in Provo would pay an extra $4 to $8 a month in their utility bill.
We thought it was more equitable, creating a fund where everybody would participate that drives on the roads.
The utility fee would bill people monthly based on how they use their land, less for people either in single houses or apartment complexes compared to commercial businesses and public areas. Winterton says the proposed fee would give a constant fund that would be used to repair roads before they're faulty.
You would think that the city would want to repair the worst roads first, but actually it saves the city more money if they keep the good roads good.
Winterton likes the fee because he says it spreads the load of payments, but BYU finance professor Larry Walters says the road fee is unclear about who pays what.
It sort of distorts the question of what does it really cost to run the roads.
There are still 2 city meetings before the City Council will vote. Both sides agree that the issue is to keep costs low while improving the streets. In Provo, John Hammond, 11 News.
If City Council passes the plan, people will pay for the existing bond plus the utility fee for 2 years. Once the bond is paid off, the rates would be lower than ever for road improvement. A new report says Utahns are more optimistic about the economy than they've been in years. 11 News reporter Cameron Collins shows us how that means more shoppers in Utah County.
Lehigh is just one example where we can see this optimism. The outlets at Traverse Mountain are adding new stores like H&M, and they say that alone means another 200 jobs. Traverse Mountain Outlets say it's ready to meet the demands of a surging economy. The more people Terry Sunderland sees when she gets to the mall, the happier she is. That's why the newest numbers from Zions Bank's Consumer Ad Index make the future look a little brighter.
With the outlets, what we are really happy about is that we provide shoppers from locally, which also contribute to the economy, but we also bring in folks from afar.
Zions Bank says the index reflects Utah's optimism in the state economy. Anything above a 90 is a solid sign of a healthy market. The newest numbers show the Attitude Index sitting above 90 for the first time since the index began in 2011, while the national index is just below 80.
That's going to be a big boom for our city and for the young people and old people alike to have jobs and to work there.
Mayor Wilson says the new numbers reflect the attitude and excitement of the people he meets in the community. He says the outlets and planned expansions have played a big part in energizing consumer optimism in his city. The mayor also says hotels and other businesses have noticed what's happening at Traverse Mountain and are moving in to take advantage of the growth. The expansion is taking place in two parts. The first will be ready for this holiday season, and by spring of 2014, the outlets will have doubled in size. H&M will anchor the second part of the expansion. Matt and Christy?
Thanks, Cameron. When 11 News at Noon returns, police impersonators, how to protect yourself if an unmarked police car siren lights up and wants you to pull over.
In grandparenting, they raise their own kids. Now an increasing number of people are raising their own grandchildren. We'll explain when we return. A Sandy woman is warning female drivers that blue and red flashing lights don't always mean you should pull over. 11 News reporter Allie Monson shows us what this woman learned when she unintentionally helped the cops find a wanted man.
I was coming home from work. This car had just pulled out of a neighborhood, started flashing red and white and blue lights, but he didn't have any markings on his car.
Talia Crosby started to pull over, but then got the feeling that something just wasn't right. She decided to call 911 just to be safe.
When I pulled over into the gas station, there were a couple of police cars that were already there and waiting for me.
It turned out that police had been looking for the man who tried to pull Crosby over.
He could have been responsible for two other situations where women had either been attempted rape or had been raped.
Now, Crosby was in a neighborhood when the perpetrator tried to stop her. But officers say that situations like these can happen anywhere.
If you're uncomfortable for whatever situation, take a couple steps, okay? If you would like to stop in a public place, feel free to. If they don't have any credentials in view, ask for it.
Officers say if you're getting stopped by an unmarked car, you also have the right to call 911.
Dispatchers really don't care. They just want you to be safe. Just go ahead and call, because you never know.
In Salt Lake City, Allie Monson, 11 News.
Police say that even if someone flashes you their badge, that doesn't mean it's real. Officers say they wish it were harder for impersonators to get their hands on fake equipment.
Some parents aren't able to raise their own kids, and new research is showing that grandparents are taking on the role more than ever. 11 News reporter Aya Khatib talked to one family who is dealing with the problem in a unique way. Aya, what's their story?
Matt, some grandparents are changing their life plans so they can be there for their grandkids. And one woman I spoke with says it's hard, but it's worth it. Becky Angus never thought she would have to take custody of her two grandchildren, but she's an example of the many grandparents who have taken on the parenting role.
Had marital issues and some abuse issues, drug abuse issues, and so it wasn't safe for the children to be with them.
Angus started raising her grandchildren almost 11 years ago. She says it was very hard on them to transition to living with her, especially for her grandson Hayden.
Hayden, who is now almost 14, he'll be 14 next month, is severely autistic. And so that has taken a lot of physical strength and also emotional.
Family researchers say that more than 30% of grandparents are raising their grandkids, and the numbers are growing. One BYU expert says that grandparents can have great experiences raising their grandkids, but it's not an easy job.
Because of the circumstances that the grandchildren have come into their home to be raised by the grandparents, usually there's some emotional or behavioral challenges.
Angus says she misses the relationship grandmothers have with their grandchildren, where they can come in, give presents, and leave. But she thinks she'd gained an opportunity by being both the mother and the grandmother to her grandkids. In Provo, Aya Khatib, 11 News. Dr. Jorgensen says that parent training might help some grandparents that are struggling to raise their grandkids. Live in the newsroom, Aya Khatib, 11 News.
Are there any resources for grandparents that need help?
Yes, Dr. Jorgensen gave me a website that grandparents can use to get helpful information and services. I will put the link in my story on our website, 11news.byu.edu.
Thank you, Aya. BYU Associate Dean Neil Cox spoke to students at this morning's devotional about the importance of friendshipping. He became emotional as he explained that even in Happy Valley, there are some of us who aren't happy. He told the story of one student who overcame extreme loneliness and isolation through getting involved. That student counseled incoming freshmen to help them avoid the same thing.
I heard her say, "I didn't get involved, but kept to myself during my freshman year, and I regret it. You need to get outside yourself and find ways to serve others. We can help you," she said.
Teaching from the Book of Mormon, Cox advised all students to get out of their comfort zones and serve each other.
I noticed that as people were walking last week, it was really cold to devotional, but this week it looked a little warmer.
I know. Let's just freeze this weather right here, Chris. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, well, I wish I could. I wish I had the power to push the pause button on today, but I can't. So it's going to get stormy. Your 11 News weather when we...
As the sun sets on summer and winter approaches, one thing can be sure: inversion season is nearly upon us. For most of the year, Utah is among the top states in the country when it comes to air quality, but it's our winter air that ranks among the worst. A recent study shows lower pollution increases quality and longevity of life by more than 30%, and Utah officials say they need your help cleaning up the air we breathe.
We ask people to drive less, to drive smarter, to especially avoid cold starts. And so if you're taking a trip that day, make sure you maybe do all your errands in one trip rather than going out and back and out and back and out and back throughout that week.
Utah laws also include a mandatory no wood burning policy on red air days and a volunteer no burn policy on yellow days.
Hey, well, at least we don't have to worry about the inversions just yet. That comes more in December, but right now, it is gorgeous. If I had an Espin stamp of approval, I would put it on today because we're gonna see sunny with the high, right around the mid-70s, and it's gorgeous. This is just south of campus, actually, here on BYU, and if I move over this way, you can see these trees starting to turn yellow. The mountains are at their peak right about now as far as fall colors, but then the rest of the valleys, they'll come a little bit later. So currently a fantastic 64 degrees, humidity at a comfortable 30%, and winds just barely out of the southwest at 5 miles an hour. So you can't get much better than this, and it'll only improve at least for the rest of today. So tonight, low of about 49, so night in the 50s, so pretty cool but comfortable night, not too bad. Partly cloudy, sunset around 7:08. Overall, though, again, a pretty nice night, though the winds will start to pick up as we see a storm come in later in the week. However, you can just ignore that for now and just enjoy the day. So 70s from Logan, Salt Lake, Provo, Nephi, pretty much everywhere on the map, with St. George coming in at a very nice 87 degrees, which, if you live in St. George, generally, I'd hope you'd like the heat at least, so it's a good time to be there. Southern Utah, again, 83 on Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, you can actually see it dip down a bit. Friday, a high of only 66, and actually Thursday night into Friday, St. George could see a small chance of rain, only about 20%, not quite as much as northern Utah, where you can see today really great, tomorrow 72, but a bit windier. We could see some stronger winds out of the south, but then by Thursday, especially Thursday night, we could see some pretty good rainstorms, and actually they're saying that snow levels will dip down to 5,000 feet. Wow. So that is even, I mean, if you're talking that, you're talking even some of the benches could be seeing a little bit of snow Thursday night into Friday. However, hopefully the valley, we shouldn't get any
but you never know. Well, I won't lie. I wouldn't mind if these 70s continue throughout the week. This is great. Yeah.
No kidding, but we're going up to Logan this weekend, so that's going to be a little chilly Friday night. But Clark, how's it looking? Are we going to be cold out there?
Well, it's Logan. It's always cold in Logan. It's Tuesday, I tell you, and I'm already ready for Friday night. I want some more college football. Next on sports, welcome back. Injury and suspensions left BYU short-handed last week. Find out which Cougar stars are scheduled to return against the Aggies. And stash the trash. Some Cougar fans couldn't find the receptacle during the Holy War, but littering the field may have some more serious repercussions. Put the remote away and get... You can't win without scoring points. And after missing some key offensive weapons last week, the Cougars should be back to full strength for their clash with Utah State. Help is on the way in the form of senior receiver Cody Hoffman and super sophomore running back Jamal Williams. Williams had a great start to the season with over 300 yards in 2 games, but was carted off with a scary-looking injury in that rivalry game with Utah. Good news yesterday, though. Williams in practice, and Bronco says he expects Jamal to play this Friday. Hoffman, by far the team's best receiver, served a 1-game suspension last week for a violation of team rules. Word out of practice is that he is cleared to play as well. College football fans nationwide are still talking about the Holy War, but not necessarily about the game itself. 11 Sports reporter Michael Von Farrell shows us the negative impact a few misbehaving fans can have.
The internet is booming with criticism about how a police escort couldn't stop BYU fans from pelting the referees after the Holy War game. BYU police are still investigating what they call an assault.
Throwing away trash is something your mother approves of, but when you throw that trash at college referees, it takes on a whole new meaning. Coming from a school known for its tradition, spirit, and honor, students like Mike Harmon feel that refs don't deserve that treatment, and this could have a lasting impact on BYU's reputation.
And it's kind of funny, just kind of hypocritical with fans throwing stuff at refs, especially after a game where the refs really didn't affect the outcome of anything. It doesn't look good for the school, it doesn't look good for the church.
Thousands of people from around the nation posted similar worries about BYU fans on the internet, but some, including a Utah Ute fan, says it's not that big of a deal.
I think it might hurt, the fact they're trying to go for like the higher standard or whatever, but I mean, they're fans. Fans are fans in general.
The desire to throw something on the field may seem like a good way to vent, but BYU police make it very clear that it would be better to sit on your hands. A few years ago, they adopted a zero-tolerance policy for fans throwing objects. Police kicked disobedient fans throwing trash out of the game. So if the need comes to let out some anger at a BYU sporting event, remember, trash belongs in one place, the dumpster.
The Rock has a chance to redeem itself for the next BYU home football game against Georgia Tech. Kickoff time just announced for that one. That's Saturday, October 15th at 5 p.m. And ESPNU is airing the game. Clark?
You stay classy, Provo. Thanks, Michael. Who dat? The Saints and Dolphins squared off last night in a battle of surprise unbeatens. Dolphins quarterback Ryan Tannehill ran into some bad voodoo in the Big Easy. Second quarter, Tannehill on the scramble, and whoops! Why are you fumbling my football? Saints recovered a set of Drew Brees, and he's going to throw a telegram to Jimmy Graham, showing off his genetic advantages there. Saints up 11. Later on, second quarter, Tannehill, he's going to be picked off, and Jabari Greer read him like a book. 4 turnovers on the game for Tannehill. Ensuing drive, Brees to the diminutive one. 5'5" Darren Sproles with his second TD. Brees simply could not be stopped in this one. 412 yards, 4 touchdowns. The second one here to Graham, and the Saints are going to roll all over the Dolphins through 38-17. There's only one October, and it's finally here. 162 games, not enough. The Rays and Rangers in Arlington to settle the AL wildcard. Bottom 2, Nelson Cruz back from his 50-game PED suspension. But David Price gets into line out to first. Tying run is stranded. Top 3 now. It's Evan Longoria. I must break you. 2-run shot puts the Rays up 3, and starter David Price would do the rest. Price fielding his position in the 8th. That's going to be a nifty flip to get Elvis Andrews at first and preserve the lead. Bryce is pumped, and he would take the mound in the 9th, looking for the complete game, and that's going to do it. The Rays ace goes the distance, and Tampa survives 5-2. The tiebreaker game not technically part of the postseason, so the playoffs start tonight with the one-game wildcard round. The Pirates host the Reds at 6 p.m. Mountain Time for the right to play St. Louis in the divisional series. The Rays win last night means they will play Cleveland on Wednesday. Winner there goes on to play Boston. So guys, with the new format in the MLB playoffs, that means that the winner of those two games I just talked about advance, the loser goes home. I'm not quite sure how I feel about the format yet, but it does make for some really great theater.
Man, that sets the stakes really high for all of them.
Yeah.
I know, wow, just one game, that's crazy.
Still to come on 11 News at noon, fall festivity. The seasonal colors are in full bloom around the Alpine Loop. How to take advantage of the scenery before winter takes over. We'll be right back.
The leaves are bright red, yellow, and orange in the mountains above Provo, but they won't be that way for long. 11 News reporter Mary Blanchard gives us a look at the High Mountain Color Show before it disappears.
About 1 million people a year drive the Alpine Loop for a chance to see the bright bouquet of fall splendor created when the temperature drops in the mountains.
Well, fall is a great time to get out because the leaves are changing, the weather's not so hot. We get a lot of people rock climbing and rappelling.
Christofferson says fall is one of his favorite seasons and a great time for his business. The vivid colors bring out lots of nature lovers who enjoy seeing the sudden transformation of the trees.
Okay. We decided we wanted to come for a fall hike today and just check out all the bright, fun leaves and enjoy the beautiful weather before winter hit.
Here in Utah, we have a variety of colors in the fall, like these red maples that you see behind me, or orange, and that's oak brush. But primarily you're going to see these yellow ones, which are quaking aspens.
We just love Utah for the diversity, and the fall is great. It's not so hot, and the colors are just amazing.
Approaching winter means the Forest Service will close the Alpine Loop to car traffic in mid-October. And soon, the yellow, orange, and red leaves will turn brown and fall off the trees, ending this palette of autumn colors until next year. On the Alpine Loop, Mary Blanchard, 11 News.
Wow, 1 million people on the Alpine Loop. I still haven't had the chance to go there this fall.
I know, I've only been walking south of campus a little bit. Those trees have gone really yellow in the past few weeks.
Yeah.
So.
No, I've actually never done Alpine Loop ever as far as like fall, but up where I live, Butterfield Canyon, it's like southwest side, really nice.
That's 11 News at noon for Tuesday, October 1st.
You can join us anytime on our website, 11news.byu.edu.
Thanks for watching.